Good evening and welcome to the Sur in English 40th Anniversary Gala.
Buenas tardes, bienvenidos a la gala del 40 aniversario de Sur in English.
Tenemos la suerte de poder dar la bienvenida a muchos amigos de Sur in English y especialmente aquí esta noche a autoridades municipales y provinciales y dar las gracias a nuestros patrocinadores esta noche. Diputación Provincial de Málaga, Turismo Costa del Sol, el Ayuntamiento de Marbella, el Ayuntamiento de Mijas, el Ayuntamiento de Torremolinos y Laude San Pedro International College.
We're very lucky to be able to welcome here so many old and new friends of Sur in English, so many familiar faces, and especially municipal and provincial authorities. We would also like to thank our sponsors, Diputación Provincial de Málaga, Turismo Costa del Sol, Marbella, Mijas and Torremolinos Town Hall, and Laude San Pedro International College.
So we're here to kick off the celebration of 4 decades of a very special newspaper. A newspaper that was born out of the need for information and communication when people who speak different languages come together in the same place, and in this case, the beautiful Costa del Sol.
Así que dado lo especial que es este periódico nacido de esta necesidad de comunicación, vamos a hacer una gala bilingüe. No vamos a traducir todo, sino intentaremos que nadie se duerma por pasar mucho tiempo sin escuchar su idioma. Y que cada persona a quien invitamos a subir aquí al escenario hable el idioma que le sea más cómodo.
So without translating absolutely everything, we're going to make this a bilingual evening, inviting all of our guests to speak the language they're most comfortable with.
Primero damos la palabra al director de Sur, Manuel Castillo, para abrir el acto. The Editor-in-Chief of Sur, Manuel Castillo.
Gracias, Rachel, gracias, David. Yo voy a cumplir el primer mandato de David, que es conseguir que no se duerman mientras yo hablo, así que voy a ser rapidísimo. Muchísimas gracias a todos y, bueno, quería contar una pequeña historia, muy breve y con rapidez. Yo recuerdo cuando surgió Sur in English, hace ya 40 años. Yo entonces ya andaba por el periódico como colaborador y veía en aquella sala, unas mesas al lado de deporte, veía a Liz Parry, veía a Pedro Luis y veía a Juan Soto hablar de una cosa que íbamos a hacer que se llamaba Sur in English. Aquello parecía una locura y tan locura que, bueno, aquello lo veíamos como algo realmente extraño, raro, en el que puedo asegurar que no sé si confiaba mucho en que saliera adelante. Pero con el trabajo de Liz y de todo el equipo que contó, que eran 2 personas más o 3, ¿no? Pero bueno, el empuje de Pedro Luis, el apoyo de todo el periódico y de Juan Soto, pues aquello fue tomando realidad hasta que se convirtió en una pieza fundamental para el periódico Sur. El periódico Sur, entendiendo como tal todo lo que es la multimedia de Sur, no se podría entender sin Sur in English. Y digo algo más, en algunos momentos de dificultades el que nos mantuvo a flote fue Sur in English, con lo cual yo creo que tiene el doble valor. Y aquello fue creciendo, necesitaban más espacio y Sur in English, de forma cariñosa y coloquial, lo conocíamos como el Peñón. Entonces, cada vez que teníamos que ver a Liz Parry o teníamos que ir a hacer algo de Sur in English, pues decíamos, nos vamos al Peñón y dábamos una visita por allí para saludar a nuestros amigos de Sur in English. Sur in English nació como un periódico para la comunidad británica y se ha convertido en un periódico para toda la comunidad, yo diría extranjera, angloparlante, pero algo más, ¿no? A toda la comunidad de visitantes y de residentes y de turistas y de amigos que están en la Costa del Sol. Así que yo me congratulo por estos 40 años, le di muchísimas felicidades a todos los que han participado. Además, no quisiera dejarme a nadie. He hablado de Liz Parry, he hablado de Pedro Luis Gómez, de Juan Soto, pero también Joan y Jerry Davis, que fueron los artífices de los primeros en publicidad, de Yves Browning, Kate Rayner, David Barley, Rachel, David, Dennis Bush, Carl Smallman Y luego ya también equipo de comercial y de administración, como Ana María Reina, Teresa Canales, Sonia González, Mari Carmen Carrillo, todo el equipo de evento que también hace posible esto, como Silvia y Susana, Jenny Rhodes, Tony Bryan, Daryl Fitch, los hermanos Morales de Fuengirola, que también fueron muy importantes, y Bel O'Hanlon y Emma Vera. Y seguro que me he dejado algunos, pero todos ellos, más todo el equipo de Sur, que poco a poco ha puesto su granito de arena, pues yo creo que nos sentimos felices por estos 40 años y esperamos estar otros 40 y que alguno de los que están aquí lo vea, ¿no? Por ejemplo. Así que muchísimas gracias, gracias a todas las autoridades, gracias a todos los que han participado, gracias David y Rachel, que no podéis imaginar lo que significa el milagro de semana a semana. Han sido 2000 semanas, es decir, más de 2000 semanas, 2000 ejemplares, los que en cada una de ellas Sur in English ha estado donde tenía que estar, informando de las cosas que pasan aquí, que le interesan a todos los que viven y residen aquí, y con el compromiso de seguir hasta que el cuerpo aguante, y les puedo asegurar que el cuerpo va a aguantar muchos años más. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Manolo. Every time I stand up to speak about the history of Sur in English, I feel quite humbled. As I wasn't here in Spain back in 1984, I was just a schoolgirl in England. And I know that there are so many of you here in this audience who were here back in 1984. I wasn't there when the directors at Sur started discussing the possibility of publishing information in English due to the growing international population in the province of Malaga. And I wasn't there when the Welsh couple, Joan and Jerry Davis, who are no longer with us, turned up at the Sur offices in Malaga with their Olivetti typewriter. But I can certainly imagine the scene. Ese encuentro entre Sur y la comunidad extranjera con la llegada de la pareja galesa, Joan y Jerry Davis, a la sede de Málaga, fue el principio de un proyecto que ha durado 4 décadas. Since the 20th of July, 1984, Sur in English has rolled off the press every Thursday night, ready to be distributed early on Friday morning to hundreds of distribution points along the Costa del Sol, inland, as well as on the Granada coastline and Gibraltar. 40 years, or now exactly 2,096 weeks, taking reliable and relevant information in English to residents and residential tourists in the south of Spain. Si desde el 20 de julio de 1984 han pasado 2.096 semanas, o sea, 2.096 mañanas de viernes recogiendo Sur in English, que fue además no solo el primer periódico en inglés en la Costa del Sol, sino también el primer periódico gratuito financiado enteramente por publicidad en España. Un formato muy conocido en otros países de Europa, pero no tanto en España. And it's this publicidad, this advertising, that formed the perfect tandem with the news, information, opinion, and features to create a product that became an essential part of the lives of thousands of international residents and tourists who, especially in the early days, had little access to news and information in their own language. And this has been accompanied since as far back as 1996 by surinenglish.com, taking news from the south of Spain even further afield, and now read by thousands every day on phones, laptops, and tablets. We also have to mention the work that Sur in English has done to promote the Costa del Sol and Andalucía in the UK and beyond, taking special supplements and being the first and only newspaper to have its own stand at the World Travel Market in London for well over 30 years. Y esa promoción de Andalucía en el World Travel Market viene con una cita anual imprescindible para el sector turístico, la tradicional cena de Sur in English en Londres. Later, we'll have a chance to look at the present and the future, but first I'd like to mention some of the names of colleagues and contributors who have been or still are members of the Sur in English team. In no particular order, and I'm sure there are more who've been missed, so apologies in advance to them. Of course, we've mentioned before Joan and Jerry Davis and Pedro Luis Gomez, who's the journalist right here on the first day, who sends his apologies this evening. Kate Rayner, Debbie Bartlett, Carl Smallman, Denise Bush, Darryl Finch, Penny Ward, Heather Fraser, Neil Hesketh, Grace Taylor, Wayne Jameson, Jenny Rhodes, Tony Bryant, Ricky Leach, George Pryor, Ash Meir, Andrew Forbes, Julie Wilkinson, and Polly Roger Brown. And then there are columnists, of course, we all remember the late Peter Harrison, who wrote the pet care column with his wife Ernie for so many years. James Chapman, Peter Edgerton, Rob Palmer, Mark Naylor, Peter Jones, and Jeremy Blatch. Also from the advertising and administration side, I think Manolo mentioned most of those. I'd like to welcome again here tonight Bella O'Hanlon from the Gibraltar, our Gibraltar representative. Y por supuesto, Sur en English no podía existir sin el equipo de redacción de Diario Sur. Escribir para Sur es también escribir para Sur en English y Sur Deutsche Ausgabe. Y el trabajo de los redactores llega a miles de lectores más en diferentes idiomas. In fact, the journalists from Sur, Sur in English, and Sur Deutsche Ausgabe working side by side in the newsroom is what makes these publications so special. Now, there are two people now enjoying their well-deserved retirement who we haven't yet mentioned and who would like to call on to join me here on stage. And that's Eve Brown, our much-loved advertising manager for so many years, and Liz Parry, who was the editor of Sur in English, who ran the newsroom right from the 80s up until a few years ago. I think most people here will remember Liz and will remember Eve very fondly. I thought it would be nice if we could just have a little conversation about Sur in English, about your memories of Sur in English. Eve, you were advertising manager for so many years.
It was the most wonderful time. The paper was so well loved on the coast. A great joy for me was on a Friday morning when everything was published, that I could go out and visit clients in Fuengirola, in Benalmádena, and everyone sitting outside the cafes and bars had a copy of Sur in English. And you'd hear all the time people saying, "Have you got the paper?" It was always known as the paper, as if Sur in English was the only English language newspaper, but it wasn't, of course. But we were the most popular, the best, the most well-read, and the most profitable.
Thanks to your department. And Liz, your memories from the newsroom.
Yes, before I start, can I just say that Sur in English was one of the best things that ever happened to me, and I'll probably get very emotional about it. Eve said at the end that it was the most profitable newspaper, and that was entirely thanks to Eve. She was a magnificent advertising manager, as most of you will know from experience. And yes, I remember at the very beginning, I was so pleased to be taken on at Sur in English, but it very nearly didn't happen. It was pure fluke. I was at home with my babies and thinking I've got to get back to work, and so I was scanning Diario Sur for the classified ads, looking at the situations vacant, and there was just a tiny lineage ad for a translator. I thought, well, I'll see what that's about. And I phoned the number, and it was Sur who answered, and they said, yes, it's actually for a post at Sur. We need somebody for this new English language newspaper that we've got. And I said, well, yes, that's great, I can do that, I'm applying. And so they said, well, come and have an interview. And I went and had an interview with Pedro Luis Gomez. And he put me in a room and said, okay, we need you to write some headlines, and we need you to translate these articles, and then we'll send them to Joan and Jerry Davis, and they can then they'll make the decision. And so I did that, and then after I'd written the articles and the headlines, I looked to one side and thought, oh, typewriter. Pedro Luis came back into the room, and I said, I've done it all by hand because I can't actually type. He said, well, and you've applied for a job at a newspaper and you can't type? So off I went, and he phoned me after a while and said, well, for your own satisfaction, Joan and Jerry Davis say that you are the person for the job, but as you can't type, we've given it to an American person. And so I went back to looking in the classified ads, and I also took a typing course. And after a few months, Pedro Luis phoned me again and said, have you by any chance learned to type? And I said, yes. So he said, you're in. And that was just the best thing. And so that's the way things happen. It wasn't a plan. It was purely by chance, and it was absolutely wonderful.
And Eve, what would you say one of the highlights of all those years? The 50 pages of classifieds?
Well, yeah, classifieds. Talking about classifieds, I'm sure we'll all remember the week we got to 50 pages of classified advertising. And 32 pages were full-color pages from a real estate company on the coast. Also, well, the shows that we did in the UK, they were fabulous, weren't they? We went and produced supplements to go to the property shows in the UK, and they were a huge success. And we had our own stand and distributed the paper from there. And it was joyous because people used to come up and say, oh, Sur in English, I always get that when I'm in Spain. And there are other papers, but we prefer Sur in English, always.
Yep.
True.
True.
And over the years, so much has changed. But would you agree that the essence of Sur in English remains the same? With all
the essence of Sur in English remains the same because we still bring the Spanish news and the international community news. I say we, I still consider myself a part of it. You still bring the international news and the community news to the foreign population here, but the readership has changed a bit. I remember when we started, most of the readers were retired British people on the coast, and people who were looking to retire here, who were the ones who were buying the properties. And over the years, the readership has got younger, definitely. But they still go out on Friday mornings and want the paper, yeah. And the other major change has been in the technology. We've gone from me writing my interview by hand, and then graduating to a typewriter and learning to type. And then the whole, we started with an ATEX system, which nobody will have heard of because it was specific to the newspaper. It was very complicated. We had to put all sorts of symbols in as we typed. And then moving on to computers and to Macs, and then going online. I mean, it's been a huge learning curve. That's the main change I've seen in the technology. And the printing press, yes. I think the old printing press is still in the building, but it's, no, the old one that I knew has been sold, but the whole printing technology is vastly different.
Mm-hmm. I remember Eve going down to get the paper off the press on a Thursday evening.
I used to
She
go.
was the first one there.
I used to go down and so desperate to see all the ads that were all correct in the paper. And then when we started to do colour advertising, I can't remember which year it was, but we had the 4 plates to do for the colour ads. And very often they'd all moved. And so I had to say to Fernando Legalvez, who was in charge at the time, this can't go, stop the press. No, we can't stop the press. How much is a page of advertising worth? 3,200 euros. How long are you going to have to stop the press to get this correct so that on Friday mornings I'm not bombarded with calls saying my ad's rubbish? And they were always, when I walked into the printing press on a Thursday evening, they all think, oh, here she comes. Because well, it cost a lot of money and it had to be good, and they were good, and the men were fabulous. But of course, if the printing press was stopped, that's money as well. So it all has to be jiggled and juggled.
I think the advertising department now would like to stress that we still do look after our clients, just as well as you did.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks very much for coming on here and telling us
Another
little
thing I'd
stories.
like to say, I'm so pleased with the way it's carried on, and you've done such a good job. I'm so proud of the paper, and I still am.
I am too.
Okay.
Before you come
David.
off stage, we'd like to give you a little recognition for all the work you did in Sur in English, not for 40 years, but nearly 40 years. Rachel, you want to Thanks.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I'm giving you mine. I would give you
I
mine.
thought we were going to share it.
No. Maeve.
Oh. You're way you're right. Oh,
Do you want to help? Do you want to come up?
magnificent. Thanks,
Easy.
Rachel. Thank you.
You're right, you're not a full name.
Thanks, Liz, and thanks, Eve. Sur in English was a pioneer in so many ways, but this evening is not all about us. Just as Sur in English was created out of a growing need for services for the international community, so were many other groups, organizations, charities, and businesses. No podemos hacer una celebración de este tipo sin reconocer otras organizaciones y empresas que también fueron pioneros en la comunidad extranjera. Here we can't not mention charities such as Aged Care and the different branches of Age Concern, as well as the Royal British Legion, and of course the great pioneer on the Costa del Sol, the late Joan Hunt, who founded Kudeca to provide end-of-life palliative care.
Associations such as the Lions Club and Rotary Club combine social activities and charity work. And on the cultural scene, we cannot forget theatre groups and the Salon Veritas Theatre that opened soon after the first Sur in English was published. The international community created a need for international education and schools, with Swans International School being the first to open more than 50 years ago in Marbella. And on the commercial side, businesses such as Dunnes Stores and Euromarket moved in to meet a demand for international products, among many others.
However, there are 4 organisations that we would like to give special recognition to this evening. The need for updated, reliable information in other languages was a necessity that was noted not just by the directors at Sur, but also by local town halls, receiving more and more inquiries from residents and would-be residents and visitors who did not speak Spanish. Now, the pioneers in this sense were in Mijas, where the Costa del Sol's first foreigners department was opened in 1985, just a year after the birth of Sur in English. La Oficina de Extranjeros del Ayuntamiento de Mijas fue pionera, proporcionando información y ayuda a ciudadanos en su propio idioma. At the helm of the service was Danish resident Annette Skoo, now retired, who over the years helped thousands of residents and visitors deal with paperwork and issues with the town hall and other authorities. So I would like to invite Annette Skoo to come up onto the stage along with the 2 people who are currently in charge of the Foreigners Office, Katia Tirion and Laura Cordoba. Y para entregar el reconocimiento, invitamos a Mario Bravo, el actual concejal de extranjeros en el Ayuntamiento de Mijas. Sí. Vamos a charlar un poquito sobre la oficina de extranjeros. Mario, yo creo que tú querías decir una cosa de principio, ¿no? De cómo empezó. Esto funciona, ¿no?
Todos saben que el Diario Sur nació, como han dicho, un 20 de julio de 1984, pero en esa época, y utilizando una máquina de escribir, como decía Liz, hubo un señor de Mijas, casado con una inglesa, que escribió una carta al ayuntamiento. En esa época las cosas se hacían por carta, con un sobre y un sello. Este señor se ofrecía a trabajar una tarde en el ayuntamiento gratuitamente porque consideraba que había mucha necesidad de información por parte de los extranjeros. Esa idea caló, igual que calaron muchas otras, y unos meses después, en marzo del 85, Mijas creó el mejor departamento de extranjeros de España, porque fue el primero. Desde entonces hemos convencido a muchos turistas para que se queden a vivir con nosotros y eso ha hecho Mijas mucho más rico en todos los sentidos. No solo económicamente, hemos sido capaces de absorber pacífica y educadamente toda la cultura de, sobre todo, muchos ciudadanos europeos que nos han hecho más grande. Hoy en día, más del 40% de la población empadronada, lo que significa más del 50%, como saben muchos que gestionan el padrón, ha nacido fuera de España y han decidido venir a Mijas. Como decimos siempre del Departamento de Extranjeros, si no han tenido la suerte de haber nacido aquí, tengan la sabiduría de venir a vivir con nosotros. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Mario. I'm going to ask Annette and Katja and Lara if you stay here with me for a little while. It's 40 years, and it's since you've been advising foreigners from the town hall. You've only been retired a few years, haven't you? So most of the...
Yes.
How does that feel?
Oh, it feels fantastic. I'm really grateful, and I've been very privileged to have been working at the foreign department at the Mijas Town Hall for that many years. It has been a fantastic experience. I've learned a lot myself also from all these thousands of foreigners that we have been attended. Actually, I have to say that I got the job as a translator. I saw an announcement in Sur. And it was a town hall looking for a translator, and I said, oh, well, I live in Mijas village, and I will try to see if I can get the job. I speak 6 languages myself, so maybe they have a chance. And after lots of exams and things, finally I got the job, and which I couldn't believe. I said, wow. But I soon found out, very soon, just after a week or two, that it was not only a matter of translation. There was really such a big lack of information on how the public administration, in this case the town hall and other public administration functions, and without knowing that, it's very, very difficult if you don't know that. And so that's what we also, I also started to inform all these foreigners I had from all over. We were the first one, as Mario Barao just said, here on the coast, in Spain actually. And we had foreigners coming from all over the coast, not only from Mijas. No, they came all over. And long queues, and soon we had to get more staff in. And we got up to years where we have been attending 15,000 consultations a year. So we've been very busy. Parallel to this, we've been organizing lots of different events. We were the first one to organize the International Day in Mijas, which
Probably one of the major milestones along the way of the Foreigners Department,
yes.
the International Day.
We were doing that for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing a lot of informative conferences to inform the foreign community about how to pay taxes in Spain, how to buy property, all sort of issues that is important. And especially those first years was very difficult to obtain information at all in other languages than Spanish, really.
Yes.
And thanks to also to Sur English, and congratulations with the 40 years. I think it's fantastic what you've done.
We grew up together, really, didn't we?
Sing hand by hand, really hand by hand. We've been able to help and inform so many foreigners on the coast, and I think that's been fantastic.
And we sent everybody to you.
Now, I must say thanks to my work team. Without them, I have not been able to organize all these things and attend all these people coming to our office. Like I have been working with a fantastic team, which was Marta Rey, who's not here, Luisa Machen, Katja Didion, and today Laura Cordova is working at the Foreign Department in Gala as well. So this has been essential.
Maybe, Katja, would you like to tell us a little bit about what the challenges are for the office today?
Well,
future?
It's true that somehow things have changed, no? But thank you very much as well to Anna, because I'm 20 years right now in the town hall, and everything I know, I learned it from Anna. And thank you very much as well to the town hall in Mijas, because they always supported us. Whatever government is or was, we are very thankful that we have such a support from our own government. I would say that, okay, we have been 20 years ago. Now we are 2, which makes sense because we are less people on the Costa del Sol. But that means that we have to change a little bit. We have to adapt as well to new times. Challenges now, I think, still is somehow the language barrier. This is why we are there. But besides of that as well, a little bit like Lise said, it's as well the digital barrier. I mean, many people here on the Costa del Sol, they come, they retire, and all of a sudden, they can't go anymore to Social Security or to the police. No, you have to make an online appointment. So there are lots of barriers, I think, but as well together with you guys as well, because you inform, people read. Now that has to be done like this and like this. We, from our side, we are having information sheet. We are trying to help people somehow to explain to them how everything works, because you just can't go anymore. You can still come and see us without any appointment, but Social Security, National Police, it's not possible anymore. So I would say that as well for elderlies, it's difficult. And there we are very, very happy, and I think we concentrate right now more in networking. Networking, to my mind, is the most important way to continue, and as well to support all our fabulous associations. And thank you very much, really, to all our associations, the foreign ones, like Age Care, Age Concern, like Lions Club, like Codeca, like everybody, British Legion, and so on, because when we network together, we can make life easier, especially for our elderlies. And I think as well, we need more volunteers in everything. We from the town hall, we do networking meetings with the clubs, associations, and as well with businesses. So I think the new time nowadays, or the new thing is networking.
Well, let's hope that message gets out there. More
And
volunteers for
congratulations to Sur.
Okay. Congratulations.
Foreigners began buying homes in Spain long before Sur English appeared in 1984. In fact, it was as far back as 1970 that Panorama became the first international real estate agency in Marbella. Christopher Clover, the son of an American real estate business owner, arrived to head the office in 1973 at a time when the Marbella jet set was at its heyday. Christopher Clover es la tercera generación de una familia dedicada al mundo inmobiliario. Su abuelo Bert Byron Clover abrió su primera inmobiliaria en 1904 en Chicago. Sus hijos, Katinka y Alex, son ya la cuarta generación y siguen la tradición familiar. So I would like Manuel Cadenas from the Mancomunidad de Municipios and Christopher Clover, Managing Director, and his son and daughter, Katinka and Alex Clover, members of the board of Panorama, to come up on stage, please.
Photograph. Okay, Christopher, Katinka, and Alex, if you stay here for a couple of moments, and we'll. Congratulations, Christopher. It's a long time in the real estate industry, 5 decades on the Costa del Sol. What have the most striking changes been?
Well, well, first of all, thank you so much for the honor of this award and the pleasure of being here with you and sharing our experience with you. It's been so exciting talking about more than 5 decades here. When we first arrived in Marbella, our main link to the outside world was our telex machine, which was technology of the 1930s. And to make an international telephone call, there wasn't direct dial. We had to book a slot through the Malaga telephone central, and sometimes wait hours, sometimes all day, to be able to place that call. So our telex was the real link to the outside world. There were sometimes donkeys in the scene in the streets. Our infrastructure wasn't great because Marbella had grown from a population of 12,000 in 1960 to 29,000, exploded during the 60s in 1970 when we opened our first office here. Our main advertising before internet was press advertising, meeting buyers and sellers through social events and other clients and recommendations. Networking was valid in its way in those years as it is today in this totally evolved manner. What a difference of world today to the marketing that we have. The polished presentations, the virtual tours, the amazing digital presentations, just as technology in general has evolved to a whole different scenario as it is, which is really the two biggest differences. But the great marketing, at the end of the day, can never fully take the place of experienced, trained professionals who really care personally to help sellers sell their homes at a fair market price, as well as sharing their experience, helping buyers discover what this incredible area and our magnificent lifestyle is all about. And making new friends from around the world, which is the most, it's a perfect profession to be in for me, because we've learned from everyone, and we have friends stretching around the world, only because of our profession here in Marbella, this incredible area, and on the whole coast, which is so amazing place to live with our amazing lifestyle. In the early years, the type of construction that we had was, with some notable exceptions, such as done by the architect Bob Mosher during the 50s and 60s, and usually rustic Andalusian style, and not very expensive, usually without basements. But as the years rolled by, the market demanded more and more the very best in qualities of design and finishes. Especially since the end of the last recession in 2012, property developers have invested billions of euros in buying land and producing villas and apartments of the highest quality, betting on the future of Marbella and on the Costa del Sol in general. And their bets have paid off handsomely. And one of the reasons for the popularity of the coast and the Marbella area today is the availability of some of the highest quality homes in design and finishes available anywhere in the world. Marbella is today the epicenter of the high-end real estate market of Europe, and we are privileged to remain an important participant in this evolving market and exercise our profession and our family company on the highest level, especially in the best place and the most amazing cosmopolitan community in the world. But there are things that we have to take a lot of care about. And if we have been voted the best destination in Europe, at the same time, we have to ensure that we do everything not only to maintain the high level of public and private services and infrastructure that we have, but improve it to be also the best infrastructure, public and private services available anywhere in the world as well. And it takes private sector as well as all of the levels of government to accomplish this. And together, I'm sure we can do it.
Okay. Thanks, Christopher. As you say, this is a family business, and now you've got Katinka and Alex, the next generation, working with you. Katinka, would you like to tell us a little bit about the milestones?
First of all, thank you for having us here today, and thank you for the award. It's lovely to be here amongst all of you. I remember growing up with Sur in English. I remember Sur in English my whole life. So it's lovely to be here. Thank you so much. Well, when we opened our first office here in 1970, Panorama was the first international real estate agency to open an office on the Costa del Sol, the same year that Puerto Banús was inaugurated. We were also the first real estate agency to bring inspection flights of clients to the coast. In our case, the flights were from United States. In 1974, we obtained our first major sole agency. That was for the parcels of Las Lomas del Marbella Club. By the end of the 70s, we had established a wonderful base of national as well as international clients, including many clients from the Middle East, and were well known in our industry for sale of luxury properties. In 1982, we were the first agency to hold an open house in Marbella to encourage collaboration of other real estate agencies in selling our exclusive properties. Panorama was also among the first agencies to have a website in 1996. Over the years, Panorama has expanded its services and team to 30 professionals in 2 offices on the Golden Mile. We have had important collaborations with well-known agencies such as Chesterton, Savills, and presently with John D. Wood. In 2015, we became the only agency on the Costa del Sol regulated by the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, of which my father is fellow and 2 of us are associates, including myself. In 2000, 2019 and 2021, we were awarded the first place for the prestigious European Property Awards as the best real estate agency of its type in Spain. Also that same year, we signed a joint venture with the Puente Romano and Nobu Hotels, operating a boutique agency called Puente Romano Real Estate. In 2020, my father was named honorary president of the leading property agents association. I can't imagine a more exciting business to be in and represent the fourth generation in real estate amongst our family.
Thank you very much, Finca. Alex, very briefly, do you want to talk about the future of the... Very briefly.
Right, well, hello. Thank you to the Sur in English for this recognition on behalf of myself and also our family. And yeah, I remember when my dad talked about the telex machine. I remember when I was young, working during summer holidays when I was a child in Panorama in my dad's office, 7, 8 years old, trying to help out. And I still remember how everything was then. We had the, I remember how excited my dad was when we had the first laser fax machine and how the crisp resolution that was coming through. And I also remember the way we used to present properties to clients. It wasn't the way it's done today with a database and photos and this kind of thing. It was literally someone would go out and take with an old 35mm camera, would take some pictures and go to the Photoshop and develop those pictures and stick those photos on a card and present those to clients. So we've come a long way from there. And where do we think things are going in the future? Well, personally, I think the big thing is going to be speed, efficiency, and automation. And I think everything that's happened so far, which kind of relies on people's memories to make things happen, that's going to kind of be automated now. And there's going to be big changes and big investments coming to Marbella. Now that Marbella is firmly on the map, as my dad has alluded to in his property market report, which I encourage you all to read if you haven't read it. But now that Marbella is firmly on the map internationally, I think we're going to see some big investments in real estate. And companies such as Panorama, independent companies, local companies that have been here for a while are going to have to really rise up to the challenge of the competition that's already here. It's one of the most competitive real estate markets in the world, if not the most competitive real estate market in the world. But I think Panorama is up to the challenge. And once again, congratulations to Sur in English for your 40 years.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex. I think that was Panorama. Now, moving on, we'd also like to show special recognition this evening to another project that's brought together the local and international communities in Malaga. And in this case, the connection between foreigners and Malaga goes back more than 175 years, with the creation of the English Cemetery. El Cementerio Inglés de Málaga fue fundado en 1831 por el entonces cónsul británico William Mark, para crear un lugar donde enterrar a los no católicos. Funding, however, from the British government dried up, and by the end of the 20th century, the cemetery had fallen into a state of neglect. But after his arrival at the consulate in Malaga, former consul Bruce McIntyre led the creation of a non-profit foundation to maintain the cemetery. It was in 2006 that the English Cemetery Foundation was officially created. Since then, the cemetery has been listed as a cultural asset, a bien de interés cultural, by the Junta de Andalucía, among many other achievements. El reconocimiento de la labor de la Fundación Cementerio Inglés de Málaga lo recogerá el antiguo cónsul británico de Málaga y presidente de la Fundación, Bruce McIntyre. And Bruce will be accompanied by the cemetery's current trustee responsible for fundraising and funeral services, David Tweed. If Bruce and David could come up. Y el reconocimiento lo entregará Marta Huete, teniente de alcaldesa y concejala del área de Presidencia y Turismo del Ayuntamiento de Torremolinos. I think you just have a photo with Marta. So if Bruce and David, if you stay with me, Bruce, you started the foundation to throw a lifeline to a unique historical site in Malaga that wasn't receiving the attention it needed. So it must have been quite a challenge.
It was, Rachel. When I first arrived here in 2000, the cemetery wasn't known by the British community and very little known by the Malaga community. The Malagueños tended to walk straight past it, even though it's in the center of town, without realizing that what was behind the wall. And very few of the British community ever came into Malaga in those days and didn't know about the cemetery. So we were faced with this problem that those who did know about the cemetery knew it also belonged to the British government. And they thought, well, why should we contribute anything towards the cemetery when the British government should be looking after it? Well, as Rachel says, that money ceased to be forthcoming at the beginning of the 20th century. So I was faced, suddenly being given responsibility for this cemetery, and we're trying to find ways of maintaining it and keeping it going. As everybody thought it would belong to the British government, nobody wanted to give us any money. So the only thing I could think of was that we should turn it into a charitable foundation. And that I proposed to my office in London that we should do so, and that the cemetery should be passed to a foundation who would therefore maintain it and look after it and promote its historical record.
And over the last 20 years, it's achieved a great deal. Nearly 20 years.
It took 3 years to get persuade them to do it. And finally we got it, and we registered the foundation in 2006, as you said. Mm-hmm. In 2010, we registered it, actually, in the Junta de Andalucía. And in 2010, 2012, I think, we became a BIC, as you said. The becoming a bien de interés cultural was very important to us because it prevented any moves that might have been made to try and expropriate the cemetery for building purposes, as had been rumored when I first arrived. So we were safe there. It has its own problems, but it was something we're overcoming. We are now well known in Malaga. I think many Malagueños have got to know us over the years through our visiting program, where many schools come to us and see us. We have guided visits, we have night visits, we have dramatized visits, we have lots of concerts, lots of cultural events. And I think one of the things we are proud of is that Malaga knows that the cemetery exists, and I think many of the British community now also know it's existing.
Well, many congratulations.
Thank you.
Maybe we can ask David to very briefly talk about the projects that are coming up?
It is an incredible place, the English Cemetery, but unfortunately, sorry Bruce, but the gardens are still pretty neglected. In fact, there's parts of it, we're on 5 levels and there's erosion coming, and that erosion is damaging graves. But I think that the fact that we're neglected is in fact an opportunity for the English Cemetery, because we're located a couple of 100 meters from the bull ring in the center of Malaga, and we're going through a period of climate change. And I think there's an inevitability that the gardens of the English Cemetery, which were famous in the 19th century, written about by Hans Christian Andersen, can be revived, but not exactly like a garden of the 19th century, because we can't do that any longer. We don't have enough water. So we've got this opportunity to plant a sustainable, drought-tolerant garden, which is also an innovative place where the people from the Costa del Sol and Andalusia and even beyond can come and see how we can use autochthonous or indigenous plants and how you can plant them in an English way. Because I was recently at an urbanization in Estepona, and all the lawns were dead. And they're going to have to be replaced one day, and they're going to have to be replaced with the sorts of plantings that hopefully you'll all see eventually at the English Cemetery. So that's our aim for the future. In 40 years, I hope we're still a model for gardening innovation on the Costa del Sol.
And we will still be following your progress.
And come and reserve yourself a place in history too. I've got funeral cells are open.
Okay. David Tweed and Bruce McIntyre, thank you very much.
Our final special recognition this evening goes to another organization which demonstrates the excellent business relationships between Spain and the United Kingdom. La Cámara de Comercio Británica en España se fundó en 1908 en Barcelona para crear una red de apoyo entre empresas haciendo negocios entre los dos países. The British Chamber of Commerce in Spain now has branches in Madrid and Barcelona, and the Andalusia regional branch was founded in 2008. Today, a large number of members on the Costa del Sol are active in a wide range of events organized by Andalusia Regional Vice President Derek A. Langley. These events cover all sectors with a common goal, to link Spain and the UK through business. So I'd like to invite Derek Langley onto the stage to receive the recognition, y también Manuel Castillo, director de Sur, para entregar el premio.
Derek. Derek, if you'd like to tell us just a little bit about the British Chamber of Commerce.
I don't need the script, I'm afraid. It's nice to follow the cemetery, which is very good. So, my name's Derek Langley. I've been the main board member and regional vice president for the British Chamber of Commerce in Spain for, I don't know, 15 years or something like that. For those who don't know who we are, the British Chamber of Commerce was founded in 1908 in Catalonia. I remember it very well, as I'm so old. I'm one of these ancient people they talk about. The Chamber itself is a non-for-profit. We have a number of regional offices here in Andalusia, actually in Laude School, where my intern is based this evening, and also in Barcelona, Madrid, Bilbao, and also the UK. Our aim really is to connect the UK and Spain. We're also the only independent British-Spanish business association as well. Mm-hmm. So we've been going a very, very long time. The Chamber today has over 300 members. These are from all sectors of the business community and in all regions within Spain. We're a national chamber, and we work very closely with the British Embassy in Madrid, the British consuls throughout Spain, And we're just welcoming our new ambassador, Alex Ellis, who's been for 5 years as the Indian High Commissioner. He's taken up post now in Madrid last week, and we welcome him to the fold. We also work closely with the Department for International Trade, and we're also part of the British Chambers of Commerce. Now, the British Chambers of Commerce worldwide is a very, very large organisation. In Europe, we are a foreign chamber, and the Spanish chamber in Spain is one of the largest chambers throughout Spain itself and throughout Europe. In Spain, we hold over 70 events a year. These could be economic forums, these could be business breakfasts. They're run through every region in Spain. In Andalusia, I think we hold about 10 or 11. It's quite a lot. And down here, we're very active. Andalusia and Malaga province in particular is the fastest growing region in Spain for the Chamber, which is important to us. And in addition, we work closely with other communities and other organisations. Sur in English has been a member of the Chamber, well-respected member of the Chamber, for probably 8 or 9 years now. We work very closely with them, and we put a number of joint events on as well. So 40 years, I came here in 2004, I came here in 2004, but I remember Sur in English in a very different format. And over the years, they've done special events, and I think everybody understands the value of Sur in English and the value of networking, because as far as the Chamber's concerned, our object really is to bring communities together, which I remember correctly was Sur in English's motto some time ago, bringing communities together. And this is extremely important. The Costa del Sol is a very diverse community. There's one of the largest UK populations here. And we work very closely with the Spanish Chamber of Commerce in the UK, with the Spanish Embassy and everybody else to try to pull together the two countries. Regardless of the pandemic and regardless of whatever else has gone on, the UK is probably the third largest investor for foreign direct investment in Spain, and Spain equally is probably the third or fourth largest investor in the UK. So this relationship continues to grow, and it's extremely important. So any English-speaking publication is valuable, and Sur in English fills the mould very, very well. And as far as I'm concerned, it's the best in the business. So from...
Thank you very much, Derek.
Thank you very much. Okay, that's it. Cheers. Thank you.
So, looking back at the last 4 decades, now we need to look a little bit at the future. We've seen how much things have changed and how fast things are still changing. We spoke a little bit before about surinenglish.com, the website that's been growing exponentially in the last few months, reaching almost 2 million page views in a month. La página web surinenglish.com ha experimentado un crecimiento exponencial en los últimos meses para llegar al actual número de casi 2 millones de páginas vistas en un mes. The print is still going strong. We're still delivering 30,000 copies of the print edition and to 500 distribution points every Friday. Now, the changes at Sur in English to produce a more dynamic digital content are a reflection of the changing international community on the Costa del Sol and in Malaga. In 1984, the majority of readers of Sur in English were retired residents from the north of Europe. Now, with its tech park, attractive quality of life, and excellent connections, the Costa del Sol has become a thriving hub for international startups and a destination for digital nomads. There's not one better place, but one very good example of how the Costa del Sol is changing and how it's welcoming a new type of resident, as Christopher from Panorama was talking before, the Ciudad de Marbella, que nos ha acogido también esta noche. Ahora vivimos en una Costa del Sol con una población internacional más dinámica, donde jóvenes empresas y nómadas digitales encuentran un lugar magnífico para vivir y trabajar. Así que estando aquí en Marbella, voy a invitar al primer teniente alcalde de Marbella, Félix Romero, a subir al escenario para clausurar el acto. The Deputy Mayor of Marbella, Félix Romero.
Good evening, everyone. It is a real honor for me to share with all of you such a special celebration for our journal that has accompanied us for the last 4 decades. The 40th anniversary of Sur English is not only a milestone for the life of a printed publication at a time when digital media have profoundly changed information consumption habits. This anniversary is also an authentic vindication of the vital role that journalism plays in our society. Today more than ever, as the backbone of communities, as that element that unites us when we need to show solidarity or when we need to make demands. Sur in English has been and continues to be a beacon of information, a platform for voices, and a mirror that reflects the social and cultural wealth of Marbella and the whole province, and those values that have made us a unique destination in the world. We must not forget its deep-rooted function of letting the resident British and English-speaking community know our day-to-day life closer, showcasing the work that we do as administrations and involving them in our customs and traditions. Through the pages of Sur in English, we have witnessed the impressive evolution and transformation of Marbella and the Costa del Sol. We have come together to face many challenges, and we have celebrated great triumphs that have brought us to the prosperous present in which we find ourselves today. In such a changing world, we must thank the entire Sur in English team, led by Manolo Castillo and Rachel Haynes, for their commitment to rigor and plurality. Your dedication and that of all of you who make up this great journalistic family is an example of good work and professionalism. Today is therefore a day to celebrate, but also to look to the future. I am convinced that you will continue to carry out your mission with the same passion and integrity as you have done for the past 40 years. The future holds many challenges, but thanks to your commitment to quality journalism, many more successes surely await you. I can only wish you many, many more years of excellence and shared histories. Congratulations, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Felix Romero, Deputy Mayor of Marbella. So that just leaves for us to congratulate all those who've received recognitions this evening and thank the entire team at Sur and Sur in English for helping to make this newspaper what it is today.
Finalmente, damos las gracias a nuestros patrocinadores de esta noche, Diputación Provincial de Málaga, Turismo Costa del Sol, el Ayuntamiento de Marbella, el Ayuntamiento de Mijas, el Ayuntamiento de Torremolinos y al Lau de San Pedro International College.
Thank you all for coming, and please stay and enjoy a drink and refreshments and catch up with some friends, new and old. Thank you.
Muchas gracias. Necesito